Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat. Can I get a heat check, 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 heat check. Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check.
What's good, SML? How we doing today? I'm here for Heat Check with my usual co-host, the Mad Bomber, and we are joined in person, live and in half of the Heat Check studios, by the old Matt Klink, the mythical hedge duck himself. How are you boys doing today?
Oh, wonderful.
Great.
We got a good show planned here. We're gonna hit some recaps, look at standings around the league as we go through our first 4 weeks here. We still got a couple games to be played. And then we're going to take a look at our first in-person mock draft for the Madden 22 team selection. Each one of the three of us will be just rotating through, picking teams and talking about the picks. Obviously, this is all, pre-ratings releases, ability releases. We actually don't even know anything about the game yet, so this is all subject to change, but it could be a fun little topic to talk about. So we're looking forward to it. Bomber, if you want to jump into some recaps.
All right, so let's start with the AFC North. And looking at the AFC North right now, we got the Browns 2-1, Ravens 2-2, and then you got those other two teams that combined 0-8. KJ just got smoked by the Falcons. I pretty much had my way with two-step. He's thrown more interceptions, I think, than I've got completions. He's just giving the ball away. So it's once again a two-team race. Browns, Ravens. They're one game separated. I got the Browns next week. I don't know. I think the Ravens are still going to come out of the AFC North.
Yeah, and so proven otherwise for me. I think it's NYT's division to lose. Again, back to the two-team race here. Looks like the KJ Momentum Tour is officially halted, and Joe Burrow looking at 17 picks through 4 weeks here. So that's right back where he's been all cycle.
Yeah, a couple, both ends of the spectrum here. You got KJ has scored 34 points through 4 games. That's 8 points a game, little over 8 points a game. That's pretty bad. On the other side, though, we talk about it being MYT in the lead for this division. Woods right now, 100 points scored, 52 points against. Now he's only played 3 games. I think he's on his bye right now, but that's pretty good defense. All right, next up is the AFC South. This one actually surprisingly close after the top 2. So I'm 4-0. Prime's 3-0. He's got Rowan, I think, maybe today, maybe never. Who knows? But then you got Coop sitting there at 3-1, and then in October he's doing his best KJ impersonation, sitting at 0-3, 42 points scored though, so a little bit better off. Surprisingly, looking at this though, Prime with the low scoring numbers. He's only got 84 points through 3 games, giving up 69. So his offense and defense not playing up to where it usually is. I would like to point out though, the Jaguars 4-0 with only 20 points allowed.
Dang. That's wild. And you said you got an X Factor game in the first half.
Yeah. Last week against, or I guess it was this week against two-step. Hendricks finally got X Factor. It was his 3rd try, and he got it in the first half. So looks like this could be a 3-team race at least for a little bit.
Yeah, it's been interesting in the AFC South. Obviously, you're what's that?
Who's Coop played? Look at the schedule.
Take a look at the schedule. Because the interesting thing with Coop is normally he's a very defensive heavy team, but I'm seeing 25th, 21st, 20th, while his offense he's first in the league in passing right now. I'm curious to see how that plays out the rest of the season. Obviously, we know what we're going to get out of you and Prime. Even if Prime starts a little slow, he's usually good to correct the course.
Now, Coop does have a rookie quarterback that he drafted in the first round of this past draft, so that may be the reason for him airing the ball out a little more, trying to hurry up and dev that guy. But
why not?
127 points, pretty good.
Yeah, no joke. It's working out for him.
All right, so next up is the AFC East, and this one hasn't. I don't think it's updated yet, or maybe it has. No, it doesn't look like it has.
At least it has on our end.
It's 3-0 because we're in week 4, right?
You know,
Yes.
I'd refresh it because we're looking at 4-0 for the Pats here.
Okay,
I
let
must
me
adjust
let me
it.
back
Yeah.
out and refresh that because
Thank God, gotcha.
there we go. There it is. AFC East, Matt, just official 4-0. He just beat Paulie for the second time this season, and
Big win.
I don't know what's more surprising. You had Coop 3-1 or Paulie 1-3.
I'm gonna go Paulie 1-3. I don't think we've seen him like this yet this cycle. I know he's lost the division a couple, maybe twice,
Just once, I think.
but just once.
Yep.
So I mean I know we've seen somebody else win this division, but for the most part it's been the Paulie show. Yeah, the big thing is just looking at, rush yards, 31st against, giving up 146 per game on the ground, and that's for a team that's normally been pretty stout in stopping the run. Obviously, he paid Clowney about $1 billion, and that, really helped with that last season. But, to this point, it's been a very surprising season for Miami. Big win over Mike in week one, but after that, you kind of expect the loss to Dan. But getting swept by Matt is something we talked about in our first show. If Matt could get off to a quick start,
Yep.
this could be his season with his schedule. And to this point, he really has.
Yeah, that's definitely the best start he could have hoped for was to get 2 games up on Paulie
Yeah.
in head-to-head.
Yep.
So next up, AFC West, and the surprises just keep continuing. Looking at it here, Broncos third place in the AFC West with the Chargers at 3-1, the Raiders at 2-1, Broncos 2-1, and then the Chiefs have a win. I don't even know what's the most
All
surprising
sorts
thing
of
out of
surprises
that.
up and down this division.
Chiefs 51 points for, 134 against.
Oh my gosh.
And the one that surprises me, again, the Raiders 2-1. He's only given up 31 points. So that was kind of what we thought held back future was his defense. And it looks like he might be turning the corner there.
Yeah, he started out with a great game against Meats. He dominated that game from start to finish. Meats couldn't move the ball.
Yeah.
And then, keeping with the surprise in the AFC West, Meats then responded and beat Dan the next week. So,
Yep.
I don't really know what to say about this division right now.
Yeah.
I will say that by the end of it, I think we're going to see the Broncos on top.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with that. Next, we'll move on to the NFC North. NFC North, it's got the Bears up top, but that's only because it's still in week 4. Obviously, you just
I'd refresh it.
what's that?
I would refresh it because
It's still going to show him on top. It shows him 3-1. But
It's
it's,
4-0.
really?
yeah,
Because ours over here shows the rightful king on the throne, but it's okay.
I'll back out and back in again. It shouldn't change because I did that just a minute ago, but maybe it will. We'll find out. Nope, still shows the Bears 3-1, Vikings 4-0.
All right, we know what Daddy Leagues we're gonna fight.
Yeah. So Bears top of the NFC North. Obviously,
Okay.
I'm not even sure how Figs is 3-1. I know he beat Mike, and I think he beat Finn's. NFC North probably.
Yeah,
if
he's
we go
taking
back
care
to
of the division so far.
if we go back to
honestly.
the poll, I'd say it's probably a runaway right now that the NFC North is the weakest division.
Yeah.
Outside of the
No,
Vikings.
he's got wins over Tiny, Field, and Mike.
Yeah, so it's not a. They maybe is only 3 wins at the end of the cycle or season.
Oh, he's got Mike again. There's a chance.
That's true, and I guess he's got.
He's got
Finn.
Latin on there. There's some winnable games. He definitely doesn't have. The NFC North doesn't have a super brutal schedule. So I think his schedule will pick up a little bit, but there's definitely winnable games on here. We could see
Oh, yeah.
Figs with a little bit of resurgence this season.
Well, the surprising thing with him is 102 points for, which he's got Dobbins, Hollywood Brown, Leveray, but last season the issue with Figs was his defense was awful. He gave up
Yeah.
like 200 more points than he scored, some crazy number.
It
Right
was
now,
something he broke a lot of defensive records.
he's only
Not
given up
good.
86, which is second in the NFC North. Compared to you got Finn's there with 143 points against. He's trying to take out that Figs defensive record, and it's looking like he's on pace to do that.
Look, we here in the NFC North, if we're not going to win it all, we're going to win something. We do a dang good job of it. Oh goodness.
All right, then moving to the
Yeah.
NFC South. It looks like D Muse is back on track. He's sitting at 4-0. You got the Falcons and Lawyer 2-2. He just beat KJ, and then the Bucks and the Saints both fighting to see who can get that first win. I think this is D Muse division. I don't think it's even gonna be close.
Yeah, I think it would take a pretty big collapse here. DMU's has been playing smart with the ball. His offense has looked great. He's first in total yardage in the year, third pass, second rush. He hasn't turned the ball over yet. So obviously turnovers being as important as they are. And he's got an impressive win over Q in week 2, and then
Yeah.
NYT in week 4. So it hasn't exactly been schedule related either.
Yeah, he's played some tough teams. Next up, NFC East, and it's actually Clink sitting at the top at 3-0.
Heads duck, baby.
And then you got Rowan 2-1, Graham's 1-2, and then QP 0-3. I would have expected to probably see this standings almost completely like it is, but flipped the other way.
Upside down for sure.
Yeah, really surprised to see QP 0-3. He hasn't had the easiest schedule to start, but either way, 0-3 is that maybe almost the most losses he's had in a season. He's closing in on that.
A lot of close games. 3-point loss to Rowan, 3-point loss to D Muse, and then a 1-point loss to Prime. So he's getting the bad end of some close games. Probably a little bit of an adjustment on the offensive side, honestly. Obviously you add talent, you naturally think that that's immediately going to make things better. Sometimes it can be more difficult trying to figure out how those pieces fit in, and he's still trying to figure out what he can and can't do with Mike Evans, which apparently he can't catch a jump ball anymore. So, definitely some adjustment there. Obviously only a, minus 7-point differential on the season at 0-3. That's a tough break.
Yeah, I fully expect him to turn it around. It's just with some of the teams in the NFC East, it may be tough to make up 3 games, 2 games.
Yeah.
Especially he's got already one head-to-head loss to Rowan. So interested to see how that one works out. And
Yeah,
Clink's
not an easy division to make up ground in at all. What are your thoughts on your division mates here?
There you go.
It's surprising they got up to a slow start. Obviously, I've had a pretty easy schedule to start the season, so that 3-0 is going to change. I'm definitely going to lose some games here moving forward. But
Love to see that confidence, folks.
I mean, when I played Field, Koopa, and Tiny so far. I got a big test next week after my bye here against Dump. That'll be a tone setter, and then it's Row, Q, Bomber.
To say the schedule picks up is an understatement.
Yeah.
We're looking at Dump, Rowan, Q, Bomber, Grams, Q, Grams, Coop, RD, Meats, and Rowan all in a row before you get Figs in week 16. And then you cap it off with Prime in week 17.
I was going to say
Good
Prime's
God.
solid.
To say I'm going to lose some games here is an understatement.
Holy.
Well, the game
don't
against Dump, I think, will be a good test for your defense because right now you've only given up 48 points. So
yeah.
Yeah, no, they've been playing well. I made some moves in the offseason here. Picked up Kendall Fuller to be my number 2 corner and got a trade with Dan to get a true number 1 with JC Jackson. So it's definitely helped on the outside a lot. Pushed my X Factors safety that I've been using back to safety so that he can kind of roam and do his thing since it's been a weak spot. So it's definitely worked out so far. Let's see if it can hold the rest of the season. Need to unlock a few more abilities for the D line there and get some pressure on the quarterback. And 2 more seasons, 3 more seasons, this team would be where I want it. But unfortunately, probably won't have that amount of time.
Well, we've got one more season, so that might fall a little short. But last but not least, the NFC West. Right now, you got Dump sitting at 3-0, RD at 2-1, Meats at 2-1, and then Tiny also ran. I don't know this division. We had I think Dump plays Meats this week. He played RD last week, but it was a fair sim, so not a real good idea of how those are going to shake out just yet. Dump seemed, I heard him on, what was it, Dumping the Field, I think he called it, the podcast.
Drunk in the field.
Yeah. I don't know. Dump seems to think that this could be his season in the NFC West, and I tend to agree with him. I think the Rams losing Aaron Donald is going to be huge.
Yep.
And I think this could be Dump's season.
Yeah, I mean, the team is certainly built for it. You pull up his roster. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 X Factor players, 2 superstars, a whole list of star after that, a lot of high overalls.
Yeah, I was just say those X factors you're counting in superstars. How many of them are 99s? Because he's got quite a few.
Yeah, we've got 3 99s. We've got a 98, a 96, and that's before you get to DeAndre Hopkins.
There you go.
So it's a good team, that's for sure.
Yeah.
High caliber offense. Obviously, you're slightly limited with Hurts and his throw power, but you've got the pieces there to certainly overcome any potential disability you might want to throw at this team. So if there's a season to win, it's got to be one of the next 2 for the Niners here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of true for everybody since there's only 2 seasons left. But
Yeah, this team especially, apparently.
all right, so let's that's going to do it for going around the standings. But next, let's bring up the draft order. All right, so you can see here we've got the team draft order on the left side, and on the right side we've got the teams, and we'll fill in the teams next to the division.
Yep.
I think, are we all in agreement that Prime's going to take the Colts?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Prime's probably gonna do the unspeakable and take the Colts here at number 1.
All right, so we're gonna give Prime the Colts number 1. Nobody needs to waste a pick on that.
Yeah.
Obviously, he picks number 1 every year, and he takes the Colts every year. I don't see any reason that would change,
No.
especially with getting Carson Wentz. He's not going to start with Jacob Eason this time, so maybe it'll be.
Carson Wentz might be worse.
What's that?
No, I said Carson Wentz might be worse. I don't
he might
think
be.
that he will be, but he is one of those quarterbacks that has the very erratic throwing trait. I don't know what exactly that is, but he just seems to miss throws very often. So we'll see if that gets him.
Yeah,
But
and he's not going to come
point, he's
cheap.
at least easy to cut for the Colts.
He's not going to be cheap either. So Prime.
Yeah.
Prime this season or this cycle enjoyed having rookie quarterback most of the time, or rookie contract anyway. So he didn't have to spend that money. But Carson Wentz is going to eat up a little bit of your cap space. Isn't that right,
Yep.
Clink?
Yeah. I was very happy to get rid of him when I had the opportunity to, and I think I got like a second or third for him, which was more than I could ever ask for that guy.
Yeah.
All right. So for pick 2, let's start with Faz. We'll just have you
All right, sounds
kick
good.
us off. That way we're not picking for ourselves.
See, I think this one, is solely going to come down to development. If they screw Fields and give him just star, I can see you going Browns. I think they're going to give Fields superstar, and I think that's going to be too much for you to pass up.
Okay.
So I'm going Bears for you. They're going to be, pretty fun to build. You're going to get your boy Khalil Mack, and then obviously, you're gonna have your quarterback issues solved from day one with a superstar quarterback that's going to be fun to use. He can run. He should have good throw power.
Yep.
So I think that's going to be a fun team for you.
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning Bears. Missing that first round pick that they traded to go up and get him, that kind of hurts. But realistically, I'm not expecting that to be anywhere inside of the top 20 anyway. So it's not that big of a deal. The actual Bears may miss it a lot more than I will. But
Yeah.
that also depends who ends up in that division. But I could definitely see that. So we have pick 3, Mike. Who do you think he's going to take, Clink?
I'm kind of between the Chargers and 49ers. I could see him for sure going the Chargers with Herbert. I mean, that defense is already pretty built up with Bosa. Herbert's a ton of fun to use. I had him in Primer, and he's just insanely talented with this game. But I also could see him going Trey Lance and getting, a really nice young quarterback there. I think I'm going to stick with the Chargers,
Okay.
but the 49ers are definitely an option to me.
All right. So we've got Mike going to the Chargers. And that, too, I don't know if Mike does it, but I thought I heard him say one time that he likes to alternate between AFC and NFC so he gets different teams each cycle.
Oh, interesting.
So that
Yeah.
would kind of fit along with that. Next up, we got
Nice.
Meats. And to me, this is a pretty easy pick. I'm putting Meats on the Dolphins. I think in my mock draft that I released earlier, I had him there as well. It just makes sense. Everybody's given Meats all kinds of shit for having a running quarterback the last 2 cycles, at least have an escape artist. And this will give him a quarterback that can still move, but he doesn't have escape artist. So he'll be able to maybe kind of shake that stereotype that he likes to have the running quarterback, while at the same time he's going to have a lot of draft capital and the ability to kind of make that team what he wants out of it. So I got Meats getting the Dolphins.
Yeah, and they're a great Madden team. I would I would be shocked to see them. Honestly, to me, they're a top 3 team. So if they were to fall any further than 5, I would be stunned.
Yeah,
I agree.
All right, so Fast, who you got for Woods?
For Woods, I mean, Jags is an obvious pick here. It's his team. I think the only thing that might take him out would be, not wanting to go up against Prime a billion times a season. I don't know. I haven't been around for team drafts. Last one was my first one, so I don't know who dodges divisions, who picks tough divisions. For the sake of changing things up from your mock draft that you released already,
Okay.
I'm going to change things. I'm going to give Woods the Bills.
Okay.
I think the Bills are a loaded team. He's still going to have a ton of fun with Josh Allen, who's going to be ridiculous next game. This is not going to be the Josh Allen from this cycle. The defense is pretty loaded. He gets Stephon Diggs. The only thing is he might need to add a running back, but we don't know what running the ball is going to look like again. So I'm going to go Bills. I think they're a top team, and I think Woods could still have a lot of fun with them while also avoiding having to play Prime twice a season.
Yeah, I think it could come down to and why it would come down to this, I don't know, because they're going to be 2 completely different rated players. But he's got Josh Allen right now. If he decides he likes Josh Allen these last 2 seasons, then I could see him going with the Bills. If he, for whatever reason, doesn't like him, that maybe that would be enough for him to pass on the Bills there. Even though, like I said, it's going to be 2 totally different Josh Allens. You hit on it too. He's going to be probably an X factor with a bunch of abilities, whereas right now I think he's normal. So it'll be a totally different quarterback.
99 for power.
Yeah. But I like that pick for Woods. Bills have a good defense, and then Josh Allen would hopefully solve his quarterback problems that he's had the last 2 cycles, which by no coincidence is because he's had the Browns. So next up, we've got Grams. This should be an easy one.
Slam dunk.
Yeah, I know I've talked to Grams previously, and I know he likes to have his Cowboys in at least one league.
Yeah.
Typically only one league. So I think to me it depends on when he drafts his other leagues, if he's going to take the Cowboys here. I think it's pretty safe to say he'll take the Cowboys here.
Yeah.
But if we draft last in his team draft, he might go somewhere else. But I think the slam dunk is Cowboys here.
Yeah,
I think it's a safe pick.
I would totally agree with that.
Yeah, I think this is also the league he has the most pull in. So this is the one that's safer for him to get the Cowboys. He can kind of depend on getting them here, and then have a little more freedom in other leagues that maybe they draft a couple days before us, but he picks far down on the list.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so then we've got NYT.
It's an interesting one.
I'm not sure which way he's going to go. I know I've heard rumblings about him taking the Titans, and that would be I think it's his favorite team, which would be nice, but you got to play Prime twice a year, and watching him play Prime with the Ravens has been pretty brutal. Prime's come out and beat him pretty bad, and I don't know if he wanted to subject himself to two times the Prime every season. He's also mentioned wanting to go after Woods again, something about unfinished business. Well, the only 2 teams we've got left in the AFC East are the Jets and the Patriots, and I don't think he wants to go to either of those.
No.
I could see him taking the Jaguars here. Number one, because you want the Jaguars, and he wouldn't mind kind of screwing with that. But I think, you know what? I think he's going to take the 49ers. I'm going to give him the 49ers here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good defense. and it's going to have a young quarterback. So we'll go with the 49ers.
Yeah, it's a good pick. Honestly, it would be tough to see them last longer than 7. Really, they're that
very
loaded.
talented. And a young quarterback,
Yep.
which gives you cap space. I mean, there's a lot to love about the 49ers going
Yep.
into next season.
The other team,
You even
if I
have
was going to
Trey
pick another
Davis
team, though,
possible.
I think it would be the Browns. I think he wishes he
Yeah.
would have taken the Browns this past cycle over the Ravens. But
Browns.
Yep. Yeah, Browns are still a good team.
all right, so next pick is Coop, and that's on you, Faz.
I think that is on me. And I'm kind of bummed because I did think that I was going to take the 49ers here for him. So you're throwing me off a little bit. Um, with Coop, I think I'm going to roll with the Cardinals. So the
Okay.
Cardinals are a very good team. They're very fast. They're a little different than what he's had this season with the Titans. The Titans are, they have good pieces, but they're a bit boring. AJ Brown wasn't exactly, AJ Brown in this game. Obviously, Henry's a beast. Quarterback situation up in the air. Um, Tannehill wasn't very good in this Madden. So I think the Cardinals gives Coop, an explosive offense, fast pieces on defense. He gets away from, playing Prime and you a bunch. Um, so, I think they could be fun. Running around with Kyler Murray is a blast, obviously. Isaiah Simmons on defense. You've got, a billion receivers that are all good now. So Rondell Moore is going to be, nasty in Madden.
Yep.
So I think that could be a really fun change of direction for Coop. So I'm gonna go Arizona.
All right. So Clink, the pick that should probably be the second most obvious pick in the draft. Who do you have Faz taking here at 9?
If you're talking, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're back.
Okay. All right. So who do you have him picking here at number 9, Clink? Obviously, it's probably a pretty easy pick.
Yeah, this kind of worked out to be a little bit suspicious. I
Yeah,
don't think the Jags fall to 9
I don't either.
since they're the 5-6 the Jags. I mean, there's no question about it. If the Jags are at 9, that will be the fastest pick you'll see this entire team draft.
Yeah.
Because Prime will lead everybody on that he's not taking the Colts, and he'll mess around and then take the Colts. But Foz will be sprinting to any type of podium. He'll be running around his house, maybe taking laps around the neighborhood.
I'll be in my Tebow jersey.
Yeah, he'll find a way to just go crazy. But the Jags to Foz is the biggest slam dunk for me if he falls here. Or
Okay.
if they fall here.
I mean, I don't think there's anybody would argue that. But while we're looking at that, then in the first, obviously number 1 is going to be the Colts. Number 9 is going to be the Jags if they fall. Where in between 2 and 7, or 2 and 8, where do you think the most likely places the Jags go are? Since I think we're all in agreement, Faz isn't getting the Jags.
I mean, Woods makes sense. You had him in your mock draft of them being his favorite team. I think just to have that fun for him would be good. And then to me, also NYT would be a logical choice in my opinion. It's a true pocket passer, which is different from the Lamar. They've got a good young run game, and a decent defense. Needs a couple more pieces, but that's really easy to build up.
Yeah, I think
so. I would say so.
I think one that doesn't get talked about, it could be Meats. I could see Meats taking the Jags. He seems to like
Guys,
the young quarterback.
Jaguars in the league.
You just made him take the Jags.
Yeah.
He's gonna do it just so you let him
I mean,
know.
Faz talks
Yeah,
constantly
I'm
about
like
how he doesn't
fan.
like Meats. All we've heard in chat is about how Faz doesn't like Meats. Meats would have the ultimate chance to just stick it to you by taking the Jags, using Trevor Lawrence, maybe just sitting Tebow on the
Using Trevor
bench.
Lawrence. Hold up, you're gonna have to rephrase. Running with Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, he'll run with Trevor Lawrence, but
He can switch the positions. He can put Tebow at tight end, or he can put Tebow at quarterback and put Trevor Lawrence at
there
tight
you go.
end.
Yeah, he's one that I don't think I mocked him there because I gave him the Bills or the Dolphins here and in the mock draft, but I could see him taking the Jaguars, getting that young quarterback.
Do you think Meats would follow Prime into a division?
That is the only reason I had him taking the Dolphins instead of the Jags. Was I don't
That
think
would,
he'll
that
follow
would be an
Prime.
interesting division.
It would be really interesting because the Titans aren't going to be a bad team, and I could see possibly Dan taking them. if they fall that far, and that would make it a really tough division. It's gonna be a tough division, I think, most likely either way, because you're gonna have prime as the Colts, either you, Meats, or Woods. I think those are the three most likely to get the Jags, which are all going to be solid teams at the least. And then whoever's at the bottom is going to get the Texans, which could be Ostrich.
Yeah, and then whoever happens to be 32 that night.
Well, imagine a scenario where it falls. Dan gets the Titans, and then Ostrich gets the Texans.
Oh God, that's a death division.
That would be a really tough division. I don't know who ends up at the bottom, but somebody out of you, Dan, Prime, and Ostrich is going to be a number 4 team in the division.
That's wild.
Yeah. So we'll see if it works out that way. But next up, we got KJ picking 10. KJ's gone back and forth saying he's not gonna be here. Do you think KJ retires?
If he hasn't done it yet, I don't think he's doing it for next Madden. I think he'll at least give the game a shot.
You think so? I think he's gonna call it quits.
Ooh. I hope not.
If he doesn't, I'm gonna give him the Chiefs. I think this may be one of the few leagues where the Chiefs fall to number 10.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
But I think they would be a good fit for KJ. Already got a quarterback built up, got receivers. He'd have to work on the defense, but he's done a pretty good job with the Steelers defense. So I give KJ the Chiefs. All right, Faz, you got Lawyer.
So yeah, this is a slam dunk pick. I've been in this league and primer with Lawyer. He's been the Falcons in both. It sounds like he's Atlanta through and through, and he sticks with his team. So I'm gonna not change that trend until I see otherwise. Falcons.
Yeah, when I came in, he was the Packers. I don't know how he ended up with the Packers and not the Falcons. NYT had the Falcons, so I assume NYT just like this year picked ahead of him and kind of stole the Falcons from him. I think, just like you said, he's going to take his favorite team, the Falcons, and now they add Kyle Pitts. Like that's going to be a fun guy to use, and if he's on your favorite team, it'd be real tough to pass on him.
Yep, and it depends on what happens with Julio. Obviously, if they trade Julio, it's a bummer because he's a incredible Madden piece.
Yeah.
But if they walk out of it with an extra first, an extra couple picks, then it could at least make it somewhat worth it. You still have Ridley and Pitts that you're not going to really be hurting for passing offense. So that's one to watch for the Falcons as well.
Yeah, I just don't see him passing up on the Falcons.
Right.
But next up, Figs. Who do you have Figs taking, Clink?
Figs. This is a tough one, but I think I'm going to go with the football team here. Figs, throughout my time in the SML here, has not liked good quarterback play. And so I can see him going to the team that has a lot of talent and not a single quarterback on it. So that to me just makes a ton of sense. They got a great defense. They should honestly be in this top 15 anyway.
Yeah.
The talent on that team is sky high. And it just matches up perfectly with Figs because it's sky high talent with nobody to throw him the ball.
Yeah, I could see exactly how you got to that conclusion.
The only thing that might change is if he takes a team with an X Factor quarterback that he can trade on day one.
That's right. All right, so next we've got Dump, and I had him taking the Bills to follow Meats. Obviously, in this scenario, he can't do that. I don't know. Dump's a tough one. I think he likes the rivalries. But I think he could create a rivalry wherever he goes.
Yeah.
And he took the 49ers. He said on the play in the field or whatever that he might go with a rebuild. I don't know how likely it is that he's going to try to rebuild one of these teams. But I think if he does, maybe he'll go with the Panthers. You get Christian McCaffrey and a young defense. They're not the greatest defense, but they're young and you can build with them. So I'm going to give him the Panthers in this mock draft.
All
right. So you got Rowan at 14.
Rowan at 14. This is actually exactly what you have mocked as well. But looking at it, he's a Browns fan. The Browns honestly should never last this long
Yeah.
in a team draft. So if they do, I think it's a slam dunk to Rowe. I think he's real excited to use the team. I think Baker's going to have, some pretty good ratings right out the bat. You've obviously got Chubb, you've got OBJ, you got a lot of young pieces on defense. You're going to get Grant Delpit. I think they had an exciting draft pick too, if I remember correctly. But
Yeah, they had
I know what it
Newsome,
was.
They
the
got a lot
corner,
good.
was in the first round, and then they had JOK in the second round.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they picked up some good pieces there as well. So I would be kind of surprised to see them fall all the way to 14. But if they do, I don't think Rowan misses a shot.
Yeah, and I mean, there's an outside chance that they give Baker superstar. I think it's very possible between
Yep.
all the commercials. Obviously, he had a good second half of last season, but I mean, he's visible more in the commercials and stuff like that, and I could see
Yeah.
that kind of influence in where they put his development.
Yep. Yeah, and he's a guy I could easily also see like marketing Madden, honestly. Like,
Yeah,
it's just one of those, he just seems to fit it.
Yeah.
yeah,
agree.
but I agree with you. If Rowan is sitting there at 14 and the Browns are on the board, I absolutely see him taking the Browns. So then, Clink, who do you have Dan taking at 15?
So this is tough. You got Dan mocked as the Titans, which I think could happen. They got a lot of fun pieces there. I think the moniker of Dan avoiding Prime's division this past cycle is, he loves to go and attack those storylines. He's that type of guy. But he's also a huge Steelers fan, and the Steelers falling to 15 here is a bit of a sin, in my opinion. And so I'm going to give Dan the Steelers here,
Okay.
just because he was the Steelers, if I'm not mistaken, in our other league this past cycle, and so he usually likes to flip back and forth a little bit. So I could definitely see him taking the Steelers here.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. It's his favorite team. If they're there, I mean, they're good. There's no reason not to take them. And I mean,
It's so good.
and the one knock I would have on the Steelers is they don't really have a quarterback after you lose Roethlisberger. Dan's had
Yeah.
Emery Leverett that he got to X Factor. He's had this new guy McDowell that he's already got to superstar after 2 seasons. I don't think
He likes
quarterback
the
is going to be an
challenge
issue.
of getting a quarterback and building
Yeah.
him up.
Yeah.
He's done it in every CFM I've ever seen him play.
Yeah, so I think it's a perfect fit for him.
Yeah, and even if he does decide to move on from Roethlisberger, he's got Haskins there, who's still going to be young, should have decent numbers. He's probably not going to have that star dev to start, but give it a season and a half and it won't matter. He'll be superstar with like 18 abilities. So,
With Dan there especially.
Yep.
so that's probably a good pick. And he does get Rowan. I could see
Right.
the two of them kind of going back and forth.
They'd be fun.
They would.
Yeah. All right, so I'm up at 16 with Paulie. And
This one's too easy.
you think so? You think? I mean, I don't think he's taking the Patriots. I have him in the mock, and I still think it is going to fall this way if they're there. But I have Paulie getting the Bucks.
Yeah.
I agree.
Bucks are a good team. Obviously, just coming off a Super Bowl win, so they'll probably have some highly rated guys. The offense is loaded. You're going to have Ronald Jones. You're going to have Fournette. Obviously, Brady is a big piece there that he's going to want. The only thing is, I don't think either of his running backs are going to be that Breida speed back. But he'll trade Prime like 2 number ones for Naheem Hines again. So
Yep.
I think the Bucks, obvious pick here for Paulie, gives him
Yeah.
Brady for at least a couple seasons probably. All right, so Faz, you're up with future.
Yeah, so looking at future, I was originally eyeing the Ravens. We know that Future does like to run the ball. He really hasn't had a quarterback all cycle. I could see Lamar, but having Dan get mocked to the Steelers, I'm not sure he would do Dan's division twice in a row. I can see him wanting to get away from that. Give himself more of a chance at some division titles. So I'm looking at the Giants. It's a fun offense. There's good pieces. Daniel Jones will be at least a developable quarterback in the next game. Obviously, Saquon's a freak. They just added Kadarius Toney. He hasn't seemed super concerned with adding defense in Madden 21, so I would assume that that philosophy will kind of stay the same, where he's not going to be super worried about defensive players that the Giants are somewhat lacking. So I think with that explosive offense in what could be a winnable division, I can see him going over there, taking the Giants, and trying to compete a bit in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, taking a team in Dan's division twice might be too much. Although he's snuck out a couple wins against him, so
Yeah.
maybe he feels
Yep.
like he's figuring him out. And that
Yeah, he
Ravens,
certainly hasn't played him poorly.
yeah,
I've seen teams playing Dan's divisions that, they never come close to even, sniffing a win. So he's played well, but I can just see it. Yeah, I know, like me personally, I like switching up my divisions. I don't want to play the same guys
yeah.
constantly over and over and over again. So
So we're at 18 now. We've got Clink on the clock for Tiny. And
hide your X factor.
before you make your pick, I just want to point out that we're at 18 picks, or we're on the 18th pick, and the Ravens still haven't come off the board with Lamar Jackson.
Mhm.
I would say that would be one of the most surprising things, almost right on par with the Broncos dropping last season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's surprising, but if you look at this past cycle, I mean, Lamar was hurt with the passing. So you really had to be a guy committed to running both with Lamar and the run game, a lot of quick, short reads. I feel
Hmm.
like Madden did a good job with building Lamar to not be super insane with the with crazy speed and extremely accurate downfield because
Yeah.
he's not that, unfortunately, in real life. They do a lot of those quick RPOs, those quick out routes to the tight end. That's kind of his play style. And I think they did a really good job of building that. And that doesn't fit a whole lot of people in a CFM type league
Hmm.
to not have the ability to chuck it downfield when you need to.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, who do you have at 18 for Tiny?
18 at Tiny. I'm not going to take the Ravens. I'm going to give Tiny the Titans. Tiny's the type of guy, in my opinion, who likes to have fun. If I'm not mistaken, he is a Titans fan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tiny Titans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, makes sense. So, I think, getting a chance to be his team and have a little fun in the league. He gets to be in Prime's division, which sucks, but at the same time, it seems like they have a good back and forth. They got a good companionship, friendship, whatever that's going on with their access, total access, right?
Hmm.
So I think it just kind of makes sense for him to be the Titans, get his team, have some fun, and keep trying to build up and grow on what he's built on this year of getting better every season.
Okay. So next up we have Noel, and I'll be picking for Noel. I think Noel misses having a stud running back. He had that Angelo French, I guess, last cycle. Everybody talks about how that was the reason Noel was as good as he was last cycle. He ends up with Devin Singletary this cycle, and I mean, you could look at the standings we just went over. He's at the bottom of the AFC East almost every year, him and Latin. So I think getting a running back is going to be a big key for him. And I'm kind of torn between the Ravens and having Lamar Jackson and J.K. Dobbins, or even the Vikings, and where he would have a Florida State guy. Now, I know it was pretty easy to trade him Jameis Winston, and I think he might be a Florida State fan. And Dalvin Cook, coming out of Florida State, could be a good pick.
He's gonna be so juiced next Madden. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I think I gave him the Saints in the mock draft with Kamara. But looking
You
at
gave
that
him
division
Carolina.
now, you're going to have Pauly, Dump, and Lawyer. I don't think he's going to want – I think he's going to try and take a little easier route. And for that reason, I don't know where I would take him here. Ravens are going to have Dan and Rowan. I think he's going to surprise people. He wasn't or nobody really thought the Bills were going to go as high as they did. And he took them pretty high. I think he takes the Vikings. And he gets Dalvin Cook, which we've seen what you've done with Dalvin Cook. So I think he's going to take the Vikings. As of right now, it's just me and him in the NFC North, and then the Packers, and somebody's going to get a crappy Lions team. So
Yeah.
I got him taking the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean they're really not a bad team. You have to figure out the quarterback situation pretty quickly. But there's a lot of good like core pieces.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I've had fun with them. It's treated me pretty well. I can definitely see that. And again, I think Cook's going to be even better in Madden 22 than he was in 21, just based off the season he had.
Oh, yeah.
So that leaves me with Colt, correct?
Yep.
So I think at this point the Raven slide stops. We've seen Colt. He likes throwing to a running back, having a running back that can catch the ball. J.K. Dobbins is that. Colt doesn't throw much to wide receivers. He cut Michael Thomas. He won't be tempted because the Ravens don't have any. Um, and then he'll also get, a quarterback just like the one he's had now that's going to be able to run. And he's going to have, pretty stellar defense. So, Ravens slide finally stops at number 20, which is wild.
Yeah, no way I would have thought that that's where they would go, but I mean, all the picks ahead of them make sense. But you could really slide them almost in any pick up there. So next up, we've got October, and who do you have him taking, Clink?
October's interesting. I don't really know much about him, unfortunately. I know that he's an Eagles fan, but I don't, and I don't think anybody wants to take the Eagles. If it's me, I'm an Eagles fan too, and I have no interest in taking them again. I mean, they have so much money in the offensive line. I don't know what Hurts is going to be in this next Madden. There's some developable pieces. Devonta Smith and Rager are fun to use, and Sanders is a solid running back. But I don't think he's going to go to the Eagles. I think I could see him taking the Bengals and getting Joe Burrow, which is a ton of fun. You get Jamar Chase. You get some really great pieces there. So I'm going to say October takes the Bengals.
Yeah, I could see the Bengals being a fun team next year. You're set at quarterback.
Yeah.
You've got a good couple receivers. I could definitely see that. So 22, we have two-step. Another guy I don't really know too much about him. He's pretty quiet. I know he likes to throw interceptions. So outside of that, though, I don't really know. But looking at the teams that are left, I think he's going to want a quarterback. And right now you got the Jets. You've got, a rookie quarterback there that may or may not be good. You got the Patriots, a rookie quarterback there in Cam Newton. Nobody's taking the Texans above 32. Raiders have Derek Carr. Broncos have Drew Lock. The Eagles have Hurts. A lot of question marks. The only real two teams, because I'm not counting Stafford and Goff as non-question marks either. So you've got the Packers with Aaron Rodgers, maybe, but you have Jordan Love, and you've seen what Mike's done with Jordan Love. Or you have the Seahawks and like a 75-year-old Russell Wilson. So I think two-step is actually going to go with the Packers. It gives him a good quarterback. Whether Aaron Rodgers is there or not, by the time we draft, might have some impact on that, because especially if he goes to a team like the Broncos, which he's been rumored to, then maybe he goes there. This point in the draft, I think he follows Aaron Rodgers, basically. So Broncos or Raiders get Aaron Rodgers. I think that's where he goes. But as it stands, he's a Packer, and I think two-step takes the Packers.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I mean, Jordan Love in Madden at this point in the SML is already used to throwing interceptions, so that's not too much of a change for him. So that leaves me with RD. I think this one's an easy one as well.
Yep.
I think as long as the Raiders are there, I think he's going to Vegas. He's been lobbying for him. I know he's a Raiders fan. Still gets to pound the rock. Josh Jacobs is, going to be solid again. Tough to tackle, so he doesn't even have to change his running style. He just, get the ball, go forward, break tackles, score touchdowns. Don't really have to worry much about passing with RD, but he does get Henry Ruggs, which is near impossible to cover. Outside of that, to be honest with you, I don't see much in the Raiders that's super exciting. Waller is cool, but not a lot on defense. But hey, he's a Raiders fan. It sounds like he wants them, so I hope he has fun with them. I certainly wouldn't take them.
Yeah, and especially picking that far down. I mean, you're talking there's only like 10 teams left, so if one of those is your favorite team, you might as well take them. Speaking of, Clink, you're on the clock with Matt.
For Matt, that is an interesting choice. Yeah, I'm trying to read what you have here.
Seahawks. He is a Seahawks fan.
He is a Seahawks fan. Okay. If he's a Seahawks fan, then I could see him taking the Seahawks. I was going to go off script a little bit there and go with, because the Broncos are still on the available. I was going to say that Matt loved using Drew Lock so much this season and throwing the ball with him that he's going to go back to him. But since he's a Seahawks fan, we're gonna give Matt the Seahawks. It makes sense. I mean, Russell Wilson's a great quarterback to have in this game. They got a good defense still. and they're buildable. I mean, there's a lot of pieces there that you can really build around. So it makes sense.
Yeah, I would love to see Matt take the Broncos and then maybe trade Drew Lock for J.C. Jackson, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So yeah, I don't think anybody could argue he's going to take the Seahawks if they're there. He's talked about it multiple times. And then
That's fair.
that AFC or NFC West is turning into the NFC Click division with NYT, Matt, and
Yeah.
Coop sitting there. So I pick at
Finally feast
25.
on that storyline.
I pick at 25, and another one where it's somebody's getting their favorite team. I think Latin takes the Jets. Um,
Oh,
for
that poor
what?
guy is a Jets fan.
Yeah, I think he is.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's got to be rough, but at least this year he's gonna get a rookie quarterback out of it. He's gonna get multiple draft picks, still from the Jamal Adams deal. So
Mhm.
I think this team puts him a little better off than he was going into this past cycle. So easy
Mhm.
choice. Latin's gonna take the Jets. So next up you have DW.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stick with kind of a similar style for him that he's played this season. I'm gonna give him the Rams. A lot of great pieces on defense. I mean, well, the defense is just straight up built. They're already very good. He's going to get Akers, who he can still run the ball with, just like he did with Eckler. Stafford is usable. The Rams honestly have everything you could want, minus the cap space and picks. But for a guy who's traveling as often as DW is, and off seasons aren't exactly a guarantee, I don't think that's a negative for him.
Hmm.
Um, I think that gives him a good team that he can compete with, and he doesn't have to necessarily be around for every stage of the offseason, to make them good. So I think that is a negative for a lot of teams, but I think it's a positive for DW. So I'm going to go with the Rams.
All right. So Clink, that leaves you with Field picking 27.
For Field, I mean, to me, Field was just going to take best player or best team available, in my opinion. I could see him going with the Broncos here. I'm surprised the Broncos have fallen this far. And they got a lot of fun pieces. They got those wide receivers are just stacked. I know that rookie running back Javonta, right, with Javonta Williams or
Mhm.
whatever his name is out of
Yeah.
UNC. I've heard some great things about him, so he could be, a surprise star or something with good speed and good stats, good attributes that could be good for Fields. They got a decent defense. They definitely need some work on defense, but either way, I think Field would go with the best one available, and that's the Broncos, in my opinion.
Mhm.
All right. So next up is QP. And there's not many, obviously, open teams here. We got 5 teams left. You've got the Saints, the Lions, the Eagles, the Texans, and the Patriots. So I think QP is probably going to look around at the divisions at this point. Obviously, Texans don't matter. They're 32. We could probably pencil them into Fins right now.
Yep.
So he's basically choosing between the Patriots, the Eagles, the Lions, and the Saints. And I'm actually going to deviate a little bit here. I'm going to give QP the Lions. He had them in primer before he got called up, and I think he was like 10-2 with them before he got called up. They've got a decent amount to build with. He's going to be already a little bit familiar with them, and I think he's going to take the Lions.
It's a bummer because that's what I was going to give Clink if they were sitting there for
I
Clink.
had a feeling that's what you were going to give him, so I wanted to change things
Yeah.
up.
Perfect. Those picks, I love
Yep.
those picks. So
Yeah, so with Clink, pick 29 again, like you've said, not a ton of talent left on the board. Clink loves picking rebuilders. I know this for a fact. He's done it in every league we've ever played in, fantasy, Madden, MLB, NBA, doesn't matter. Clink wants to rebuild teams. So looking at the teams left, the Eagles have the most picks, but they don't have a ton of cap space, and they're old.
And he just
Um,
has the Eagles.
and he just had the Eagles. So,
Yep.
if you have a team with an average age of like 26 or above, Clink's out and he's done.
Hmm.
And the offensive line alone does that. So, I'm looking at it. The Saints are kind of the same way. You don't have a quarterback. You don't have really any extra picks that I'm aware of. Kamara is fun, but, Thomas getting up there. Defense is getting up there. So with Clink, I'm going to roll with the Pats here. Not a ton of super young pieces, But they do have a couple. They just picked up a rookie running back in the draft, and then obviously the big one is Mack Wilson. Um,
Mac Jones.
Mack Wilson. There you go, Mac Jones.
I would say Zach Wilson.
Yeah, Mac Jones. Clearly shows you how much stock I've put into his future career. But it's at least a young guy. It's somebody that you can focus on building, and I think that's what you prioritize over anything else. So, I think Patriots it is.
All right. So, Clint, who do you have for D-Muse?
D-Muse, I have the Saints for him.
Yeah.
D-Muse is the type of guy who, in my opinion, likes having teams that he can jump right in and be competitive with. The Saints give him that. I don't think the Eagles give him that, and the Texans obviously give nobody anything. So I could see him going with the Saints here with 3 teams left. I mean, he doesn't really have a whole lot of choice, and the Saints are, for the first 2 seasons or so, are honestly a solid team if you can build up a quarterback, especially, or make some type of crazy trade. But he could definitely be competitive right away with them.
And I may be mistaken, but I think that's his favorite team as well.
It is.
Actually, yeah. So that would be perfect.
It would be perfect.
Yeah. All right, so that leaves Raider fan and Finns. Now, as the points are looking right now, Raider fan is going to be picking ahead of Finns, but Finns scored 20 more eval points this season than Raider fan, and Raider fan's holding on to a 13-point lead. So if it happens, I think it's 13 point. If I remember right, maybe he scored 7 more. However it worked out, I did the math where Finns could catch him before the cycle's over, but in the event he doesn't, Raider fan picks, and I mean it's between 2 teams. You got the Eagles and you have the Texans, and I don't think anyone wants the Texans, so I have the Eagles going to Raider fan, and that's just because they're not the Texans. But I think he might enjoy using Miles Sanders, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, that kind of offense, because they're better than the Chiefs' offense that he complains about now. But it's not the Texans. And so with that, obviously then we have the Texans going 32 to Finns.
Yes, they should.
So is that's anybody rooting harder for retirement than Finns?
Yeah. But
and
more
not
than
just
likely,
KJ, just anybody's retirement.
More than likely, unless something absolutely crazy happens. Number one, Spooky's coming back. So somewhere in there, Spooky's going to be in there, and someone's going to be out. Now, how they do the ordering, I don't know how that's going to affect it. Spooky left with 171 eval points going into the last draft. Whether they kind of slide him in wherever that 171 is, or I don't know how they're going to do that. So that could change everything. Hell, everything could change just based off of how the game comes out. But this is our early mock draft.
You can take this and burn it.
So let's look at the divisions real quick. So we have if this shakes out this way, right? We've got the first division is the AFC East. You've got Latin, Clink, Woods, and Meats. I think that's a pretty evenly matched division. Latin obviously is probably looking at being the 4 team again. But I could see Clink, Woods, and Meats splitting some division titles there. I don't think anybody runs away with it.
Yeah.
Don't forget about me. We're building a team from the ground up. It's a slightly different story.
Well, maybe you get yours at the end then.
Yeah. Give me like 6 seasons and I'll build something.
Yeah. The next up, AFC North, we'd have Rowan, Dan, Colt, and October. I think that it's going to be another Dan runaway with obviously Rowan second, Colt probably third, and then October coming in fourth.
Yeah.
Then we've got AFC South, Prime, Faz, Finns, and Tiny, and it'll be like the AFC South this season where it's a two team race between you and Prime. Tiny might have a little more success than he did in the NFC West, but probably not much more. Then we have the AFC West. AFC West is going to be RD because it's RD, KJ, Mike, and Field.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think RD runs away with that. That's the new NFC North right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The NFC East, we would have Raider and Future both in there, which I think would make for an interesting season or cycle. Figs and Grams. I think that one would be between Future and Grams, and it would probably, if we play 8 seasons, I think it would be 4-4.
I could see that for sure.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. That's an interesting division.
Yeah, that would be a fun one to watch. NFC North, it would be me, Two Step, Noel, and QP. I think it would be probably between me and QP most seasons.
Yeah.
NFC South, D-Muse, Lawyer, Dump, and Pauly. I would say this one could probably be the deepest and most talented division if it were to shake out this way. Because I could see, unfortunately for Lawyer, I think it's 3 teams: D-Muse, Dump, and Pauly. Maybe Lawyer can rekindle something with Pitts and challenge for the top, but I think most likely it's D-Muse, Dump, and Pauly kind of battling it out.
Yeah.
And then the last one would be NYT, Matt, Coop, and DW. I don't know. I think probably NYT just based on the teams.
Yeah.
He's got the 49ers. He'll have a young quarterback and a young defense. Yep. But Matt's going to have his favorite team. So yeah, I think the last 2 would be probably the best ones to watch as far as kind of being close.
A lot of balanced divisions though if it shakes out this way.
Yeah. A lot of at least 2 team races, which is great to have in a league like this.
All right. Well, so I think that's going to do it. That's our mock draft. That's been the standings, and we're just over an hour. So unless you guys got anything else, I'll let you get on with your day date or whatever you guys are doing, and
go Sixers, baby.
There you go. All right. Well, it's been Heat Check, and thanks for joining us, Clink. Appreciate you being on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on today, man. I really appreciate the opportunity here, and it's always fun joining in these things.
Oh, absolutely. Loved having you. You guys enjoy your Memorial Day weekend, and let's get these games played.
Yes, sir.
All right. Take it easy, guys.
Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat. Can I get a heat check, 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 heat check. Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check.